Have a look in your pantry right now and check that bag of white sugar or those handy little sweetener tablets sitting next to your kettle. Ever wonder why crystal white sugar looks like snow, or why zero-calorie diet sweeteners leave that metallic sting on the back of your tongue? What if I told you the white granules you spoon into your morning flat white were stripped, bleached, and filtered through charred animal bones, or that your low-calorie baking blend contains bulking agents formulated for industrial insulation? You think you bought a simple plant product, but the reality inside that packet is an industrial magic trick that corporate food lawyers fight to keep off the front label. By the end of this video, you will know precisely what happens between the harvesting machines and your teaspoon. I will show you how food conglomerates exploit Australian labelling loopholes to hide fillers, chemical solvents, and genetic modifications behind innocent buzzwords. We will crack open 12 of the biggest sugar and sweetener brands sold across Woolworths, Coles, Aldi, and Chemist Warehouse that deserve an immediate eviction from your kitchen. You will discover the laboratory evidence, regulatory filings, and toxicological data exposing what these products do to your gut microbiome and cardiovascular system. Stick around until the final stretch because I will also hand you 4 completely clean, transparent alternatives that give you genuine sweetness without corporate deception. The number one offender on our bad list is sitting in millions of Aussie homes right now, and what the latest clinical trials revealed about its primary compound will make your jaw drop. To understand how we ended up eating ultra-processed chemical dust, you need to know how raw plants turn into supermarket crystals. Raw sugarcane juice is like unrefined crude oil. Straight out of the crushed stalk, it is dark green, muddy, and packed with minerals, raw molasses, and organic compounds. To make it shelf-stable and blindingly white, big refiners do not just wash it. They boil it down, spin it in industrial centrifuges, treat it with calcium hydroxide and sulfur dioxide gas, and run it through massive filtration beds. In traditional large-scale refining, those beds are made of bone char, cattle bones heated to extreme temperatures to create porous carbon granules that strip away color and impurities. The industry claims finished sucrose contains no animal tissue, allowing them to bypass mentioning animal processing on Australian ingredient panels. But the physical transformation does not stop there. Micronutrients like potassium, magnesium, and chromium are completely scrubbed out, leaving behind stripped chemical sucrose that hits your bloodstream like a sledgehammer. When it comes to artificial and zero-calorie sweeteners, the manufacturing trickery gets wilder. Pure stevia leaf extract or monk fruit extract is hundreds of times sweeter than table sugar. If a manufacturer put a microscopic speck of pure monk fruit in a single-serve packet, you would think the packet was empty. So they bulk it out with 99% cheap cornstarch derivatives like dextrose and maltodextrin, or lab-synthesized sugar alcohols, and slap a picture of a fresh green leaf on the carton. You pay $5 for a box believing you are consuming a pure herb or ancient melon, when you are essentially buying genetically engineered corn filler sprayed with high-potency chemical compounds. The food marketing machine relies entirely on you never flipping the box over to read the fine print under the nutritional information panel. But today, we are shining an industrial spotlight on every single trick in their playbook. Let us start pulling these offending products off the shelf, moving from common corner cutting all the way to the most deceptive health halo products sitting in aisle 4. Number 12 is Woolworths Essentials White Sugar. Selling for around $2.50 for a 2-kilo bag, it is the default staple in millions of Aussie kitchens. Woolworths sources this through industrial bulk refiners where the lowest bidding contract wins. The package lists only sugar, offering zero information on supply origin, crop spray profiles, or specific decolorization stages. While Australian cane milling generally relies on modern resin technology, generic store-brand supply chains frequently shuffle through third-party global trading desks to plug domestic shortfalls. The result in your cup is a razor-sharp, bleached sucrose burn that obliterates delicate aromas. One verified buyer on a major Australian retail review portal noted, "It dissolves fine, but it leaves an unnatural chemical flat aftertaste in black tea that cheaper imports always have." At roughly 12 cents per 100 grams, it is a cheap commodity stripped of all soul, trading supply opacity for a bargain price tag. That brings us to number 11, Coles White Granulated Sugar. Sitting directly opposite its Woolworths rival at an identical price point, Coles plays the exact same game of supermarket silence. You get a plain plastic pack with zero organic verification and no commitment against synthetic agrochemical desiccation during harvesting. Industrial cane fields are frequently treated with chemical ripening agents to force sugar accumulation before cutting, a detail absent from the packet. In a flat white, it delivers harsh, one-dimensional sweetness that spikes your palate and drops like a stone. Food technologist Dr. Martin Adams has repeatedly highlighted that uncertified budget white sugars represent the absolute extreme of industrial nutrient stripping. The verdict on Coles white sugar: it is dirt-cheap fuel refined to a state of absolute nutritional emptiness. Number 10 is CSR raw sugar. CSR has been synonymous with Australian baking for over 165 years, and that golden brown pack looks undeniably rustic. But do not let that unrefined appearance fool you into believing you are buying health food. Underneath the marketing spin, standard raw sugar is simply industrial sucrose, where refiners leave or spray back a microscopic coating of residual molasses to give it a honey hue. A comprehensive analysis by Choice Australia confirmed that raw sugar is roughly 99% pure sucrose, containing such negligible trace mineral levels that you would need to eat entire bags daily to receive any nutritional benefit. At over $3.50 per bag, you are paying a premium for cosmetic molasses residue. One customer remarked, "I bought this for years thinking it was healthier than white sugar, until I realized it is just colored table sugar with better PR." Verdict: a century-old brand riding on a rustic illusion. Coming in at number 9 is Bundaberg White Sugar. Featuring iconic Queensland cane branding, Bundaberg represents heritage and sunshine to Australian shoppers. Yet Bundaberg is owned by the massive food multinational Associated British Foods, operating through colossal industrial milling networks. While local marketing trades on small-town farmer imagery, the product inside is standard industrial refined sucrose, subjected to heavy chemical clarification and high heat crystallization. That process strips away every natural plant antioxidant, leaving behind a hyper-concentrated crystalline compound that induces rapid blood glucose spikes. It costs around $4 per bag, trading on national pride to charge more for basic white sucrose. As Australian nutrition author Rosemary Stanton has pointed out, national brand heritage does not change the physiological impact of ultra-refined sugar on your liver. Verdict: warm local nostalgia wrapped around cold corporate refining. Number 8 takes us into the faux health space with raw earth stevia and monk fruit blend, widely stocked at Woolworths and Coles. Marketed as a natural, plant-based sugar swap in an earthy carton, the front label prominently champions pure stevia and exotic monk fruit. But turn the carton around and look at the Australian nutritional panel. The dominant ingredient by bulk is erythritol, a fermented corn derivative, while stevia and monk fruit extract make up a tiny fraction of the blend. At over $8 for a 200-gram canister, you are paying $40 a kilogram for cheap filler masquerading as premium plant extracts. On your tongue, it hits with that telltale, freezing chemical cooling sensation, followed by a persistent metallic aftertaste. A verified Woolworths online review reads, "Gave me terrible stomach cramps and tasted like cold metal in my baking." Verdict: high-priced corn chemistry disguised as botanical goodness. If you are already itching to check your own pantry right now, hit subscribe, because the corporate deception only gets more aggressive as we climb the list. At number 7 is Hermesetta's mini sweeteners. Sold in ubiquitous plastic clicker dispensers at every Chemist Warehouse and supermarket checkout, these tiny white tablets have been dropped into morning coffees for decades. The active sweetening agent is sodium saccharin, combined with chemical binders to hold the mini tablet together. While saccharin was removed from old carcinogen lists decades ago, toxicologists at the European Food Safety Authority have repeatedly raised flags regarding synthetic intense sweeteners disrupting the delicate gut microbiome. In hot black coffee, Hermesetta's dissolves instantly but leaves a harsh, lingering medicinal bitterness that clings to the throat for 20 minutes. At approximately $4 for a pocket dispenser, you are paying hundreds of dollars per kilogram for synthetic chemical salts. Dietitian Claire Collins has noted that relying on high-potency artificial tablets trains the human palate to crave unnatural levels of sweetness. Verdict: a pocket-sized dose of chemical convenience that ruins your palate. Number 6 is Equal Stevia Sticks. Equal built its empire on artificial tabletop sachets and has now pivoted hard to the green wellness market. The box features vibrant green leaves and claims natural sweetness, Yet each single-serve packet is packed with bulking starches and processed steviol glycosides. In food manufacturing, steviol glycosides like riboside A are extracted through heavy industrial solvent steeping and chemical precipitation, far removed from brewing a fresh leaf. Each stick delivers barely a dusting of the plant extract, bulked out with maltodextrin that can cause unexpected blood sugar spikes in sensitive individuals. At $6 for a box of 40 sticks, it is an exceptionally expensive way to buy modified starch. A disgruntled buyer noted, "Does not taste like real sugar, ruins my morning coffee, and gave me an upset stomach after 3 days." Verdict: industrial powder extraction wearing a green leaf disguise. Number 5 is Natvia 100% natural sweetener. Heavily promoted across Australian fitness communities and baking shows as the definitive zero-calorie sugar alternative, Natvia has conquered supermarket shelves nationwide. But flip the canister over. The primary ingredient is not stevia. It is erythritol, accounting for over 99% of the weight. In February 2023, the Cleveland Clinic published a landmark clinical study in Nature Medicine led by Dr. Stanley Hazen, analyzing over 4,000 patients. The findings were undeniable. Individuals with the highest circulating blood levels of erythritol faced nearly double the risk of heart attack, stroke, and cardiovascular death. Laboratory testing showed erythritol directly hypersensitizes blood platelets, accelerating clot formation. Natvia costs roughly $9 for a small tub, meaning you are paying a massive surcharge for a compound linked to vascular clotting risks. Verdict: an expensive keto staple carrying a profound cardiovascular question mark. Coming in at number 4 is Lakanto Monk Fruit Classic Sweetener. Packaged in elegant white and red bags, Lakanto is marketed as the ultimate ancestral remedy for modern sugar addiction, supposedly harvested according to traditional practices. Yet look closely at the ingredient breakdown. 99% of the bag is fermented erythritol, with monk fruit mogroside extract added in trace concentrations purely to justify the name. A follow-up human trial published in August 2024 confirmed that ingesting erythritol in standard serving sizes spikes circulating blood levels over 1,000 times above normal baseline, triggering immediate platelet hyperactivity. It costs around $12 for a small bag, making it one of the most expensive products in the baking aisle. A review from an Australian home baker states, "I thought I was buying pure fruit sugar for my diabetic husband, but it is basically all erythritol that left our desserts tasting artificially icy." Verdict: ancient monk mythology used to sell ultra-processed corn ferment. Number 3 is Equal Classic Tablets. Containing the notorious aspartame and acesulfame potassium blend, this blue dispenser is an absolute fixture across Australian cafes and office kitchens. In July 2023, the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer classified aspartame as Group 2B, meaning possibly carcinogenic to humans, citing evidence linked to hepatocellular carcinoma. The French Nutrinet Santé cohort study tracking over 100,000 adults linked high consumption of these synthetic sweeteners to elevated overall cancer risks. In your drink, Equal Classic delivers a brittle, cloying chemical hit that completely masks the roast notes of good coffee beans. At roughly $5 a dispenser, you are paying for lab-synthesized compounds that global health agencies are actively debating. Professor Jerome Saris has highlighted that chronic exposure to artificial sweetener combinations warrants extreme caution for long-term health. Verdict: an outdated chemical blend clinging to cafe counters despite mounting health warnings. Number 2 is Splenda Sweetener Tablets and Granules. For over 2 decades, Splenda's famous marketing slogan assured consumers that sucralose is made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar. What they omit is that making sucralose involves chlorinating sucrose molecules, swapping hydroxyl groups with chlorine atoms to produce a compound your body cannot recognize. In May 2023, toxicological research from North Carolina State University, published in the Journal of Toxicology and Environmental Health, revealed that sucralose 6-acetate, a chemical intermediate and metabolic breakdown product, is genotoxic, directly fragmenting human DNA in laboratory testing. Furthermore, extensive research published in Frontiers in Physiology demonstrated that sucralose severely alters gut microbiota balance, destroying beneficial bifidobacteria while increasing gut barrier inflammation. It dissolves with a sickly synthetic coating that ruins your taste buds for hours. Selling for up to $8 per pack, it represents a massive corporate margin built on chlorinated chemistry. Verdict: lab chlorinated sugar that wages war on your healthy gut microbiome. That brings us to number 1. Truvia sweetener, spoonable, and packets. Manufactured through massive international corporate partnerships, Truvia claims the top spot as the absolute worst offender on Australian shelves. It has perfected the deceptive art of greenwashing, using emerald packaging, leaf icons, and the prominent phrase, "nature's calorie-free sweetness," to target health-conscious seniors, diabetics, and dieters at Coles and Woolworths. But Truvia is fundamentally an erythritol product bulked with chemically isolated riboside A. Millions of Australians buy this product every week under the doctor-recommended impression that they are doing their arteries a favour by skipping sugar. In reality, they are flooding their bloodstream with the exact sugar alcohol that the Cleveland Clinic and subsequent 2024 trials proved accelerates blood platelet aggregation and spikes cardiovascular risk profiles. You pay a staggering $11 for a tiny jar, funding an aggressive marketing campaign that hides cardiovascular red flags behind botanical imagery. One Australian customer review summarised it perfectly. "Felt dizzy and bloated after using this for a week. The label makes it look like ground-up plants, but it is pure industrial laboratory powder." Verdict: the undisputed king of supermarket greenwashing, delivering high cardiovascular risks under a wholesome botanical disguise. Right, here comes the part that made watching this far worth it. Now that we have dismantled the chemical illusions and corporate greenwashing in the supermarket aisle, let us look at the 4 clean, ethical, and fully transparent sweetener brands available across Australia that actually deserve your hard-earned dollars. These brands prove that you do not need bone char filtration, chlorinated molecules, synthetic bulking starches, or hidden cardiovascular risks to enjoy clean sweetness in your daily routine. Starting our recommended list at number 4 is Billington's unrefined Demerara and light muscovado sugar, widely available at Coles, Woolworths, and independent IGAs. Billington's has been championing completely unrefined cane sugars since 1858, operating under a production philosophy that completely rejects the modern industrial stripping model. Instead of boiling cane juice down to a bare chemical crystal and artificially spraying it with coloured syrup, Billington's presses natural sugarcane, cleans the juice through physical filtration, and gently evaporates the moisture until rich, aromatic crystals form naturally. Because there is zero chemical bleaching, zero sulfur treatment, and zero bone char processing involved at any point, the final sugar retains its full spectrum of natural cane molasses. When you open a pack, the aroma hits you immediately with deep notes of toffee, caramel, and warm vanilla, unlike the harsh chemical flatness of conventional white sugar. In your morning flat white or in baked goods, it creates a rounded, velvety depth of flavor that requires less volume to satisfy your palate. Pricing sits around $5.50 for a 500-gram pack, which works out to roughly $1.10 per 100 grams. While that is undeniably dearer than budget supermarket white sugar, you are paying for an authentic, unrefined food rather than an ultra-processed industrial byproduct. Food technologist Dr. David Julian McClements has noted that minimal thermal processing preserves complex aromatic compounds that elevate sensory satisfaction. It is not a zero-calorie health food, but for everyday baking and coffee lovers who want honest, unbleached cane sweetness on a moderate budget, Billington's is a massive step up. At number 3 is honest-to-goodness organic coconut sugar. Founded as a family-run Whole Foods cooperative in Sydney, Honest to Goodness has built an unshakable reputation across Australia for radical supply chain transparency. Stocked at Harris Farm markets, health food stores, and leading independent supermarkets, their coconut sugar is harvested directly from the blossom sap of sustainably grown coconut palms. The collected nectar is simply evaporated over low heat and kettle ground into fine golden granules. There are no synthetic anti-caking agents, no chemical solvents, and no genetically engineered fillers. It holds strict Australian certified organic accreditation, guaranteeing that no synthetic pesticides or artificial fertilizers touch the crop. On the palate, it delivers a soft, buttery caramel profile with a subtle toasted warmth, completely lacking the harsh aftertaste of refined sucrose or the freezing metallic bite of erythritol. Coconut sugar naturally possesses a lower glycemic index than table sugar, resulting in a gentler glucose curve, while naturally containing trace amounts of potassium, magnesium, and zinc derived directly from the tree sap. It retails for approximately $8.50 for a 500-gram bag, which equals about $1.70 per 100 grams. It is a premium price point, but you are buying single origin, certified organic sweetness with total traceability. Independent lab audits consistently confirm zero pesticide residues. This option is ideal for wellness-focused households and plant-based cooks who want an environmentally conscious pantry staple. Taking the number 2 spot is Pure Harvest Organic Rice Malt Syrup. Based in regional Victoria, Pure Harvest has been an Australian pioneer of organic, unrefined foods for over 4 decades. Sold in every major Woolworths and Coles nationwide, this syrup is produced through a traditional slow fermentation process where organic whole brown rice grains are cultured with natural plant enzymes. The complex starches break down naturally into maltose and complex carbohydrates, completely avoiding the harsh acid hydrolysis used in commercial corn syrups. It is certified organic by the ACO, meaning zero GMOs, zero chemical desiccation, and zero artificial preservatives. The texture is thick, golden, and rich, resembling liquid amber honey with a mild, nutty sweetness that coats the palate smoothly without that sharp, spike and crash sugar rush. Because it is completely fructose-free, it is metabolized differently by the human liver compared to standard cane sugar, making it an exceptional alternative for people managing fructose malabsorption or looking to avoid fatty liver strain. At around $5 for a 500-gram bottle, it costs just $1 per 100 grams, representing remarkable value for a locally made, certified organic product. Clinical nutritionist Dr. Joanna McMillan has noted that unrefined grain syrups provide complex carbohydrate structures that deliver a steady, sustained energy release. It is perfect for families, home bakers, and athletes seeking clean, locally produced liquid sweetness. Taking the absolute top spot as the finest sweetener in Australia is Raw Materials raw honey, sourced directly from pristine regional Australian apiaries and available through specialty grocers, Harris Farm, and premium independent retailers. This is not the heat-treated, ultra-filtered commercial honey found in squeeze bottles that has been stripped of active compounds to prevent crystallization. Raw Materials provides completely unpasteurized, cold-extracted honey that preserves live digestive enzymes, raw propolis, floral pollen, and powerful phenolic antioxidants. It undergoes zero ultrafiltration, meaning it retains its natural cloudiness and rich biological matrix. The taste is an explosion of native flora, with complex floral undertones, delicate herbal brightness, and a lingering botanical finish that commercial sweeteners cannot match. Laboratory testing demonstrates potent natural antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties, making it an active, functional food rather than empty calories. It retails for approximately $14 for a 500-gram jar, which is roughly $2.80 per 100 grams. It is the most premium choice on our list, but you are investing in an unadulterated superfood straight from Australian native forests. For health-conscious consumers who prioritize biological integrity, immunity, and pure natural sweetness, this is the undisputed gold standard. Take a screenshot of this section right now, because these practical shopping rules will permanently protect you from supermarket deception. Look for the official Australian certified organic bud logo on the packet, which legally guarantees the crop was never treated with synthetic pesticides and the sugar was never processed using bone char filters. Always read past the marketing name and check the very first item on the ingredients list, because if erythritol, dextrose, or maltodextrin appears at the top, you are buying cheap bulk filler rather than pure plant extract. Treat front-of-pack phrases like natural sweetener, raw, and plant-based as meaningless sales slogans, because Food Standards Australia New Zealand does not legally regulate those terms on sweetener packaging. Avoid products containing code numbers in the 900s like 950, 951, 954, and 955, which represent synthetic compounds like acesulfame potassium, aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose. Choose unrefined options that retain their natural golden or amber tint through gentle mechanical evaporation rather than industrial sulfur bleaching and chemical clarification. Check for third-party purity awards or non-GMO verification labels whenever you buy alternative natural sweeteners at Coles, Woolworths, Aldi, or independent health food grocers. The entire sweetener aisle is engineered to profit from our collective desire to be healthy while cutting production costs down to fractions of a cent per kilo. Food corporations know that slap-on buzzwords and green leaf graphics sell far more units than honest ingredient transparency. Breaking free from this trap requires one simple mental shift. Stop buying the illusion of guilt-free chemical sweetness and start choosing real, unadulterated, minimally processed whole foods. Thank you for watching and taking your family's health into your own hands. Share this video with your mates, your parents, or anyone you know who constantly dumps little sweetener tablets into their tea, thinking they are doing their heart a favor. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 12 brands is sitting in your kitchen right now? If you want to see what other everyday supermarket staples are secretly loaded with hidden industrial additives, check out our deep dive expose on cooking oils linked right on the screen. Take care of yourself and buy real food.